everyone, today's video is going to be a little bit different for me. It's something that I've never done on my channel before, but I think it could be interesting. And it's a book review. So my new advisor for my PhD program is really big onto reading outside of science. And he thinks that everyone should be reading at least a book a month on top of everything else. And so I've been trying to do that because, you know, I try to do what my advisor tells me to. And I recently read this book. This is a Target book club book, and I bought it in July just because I was about to go on a cruise. So I figured I might as well read it, and I finished it a couple of weeks ago. And it's called The Lonely Hearts Hotel by Heather O'Neill. And I wasn't really sure about it, you know, to be honest. So it talks about, the back of the book says it's like two children, and they're in Montreal during the Depression. They're both orphans. They meet in an orphanage. They go their separate ways. It's supposed to be about love and how love can, like, conquer all, kind of. I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. It's one of those books where I finished reading it and I was like, I'm not sure how I felt about it. It's definitely a book with some pretty racy topics. So there is child molestation in there. There is heroin overdosing and addiction, sex addiction, blah, 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 alcoholism, prostitution. It's not the cheeriest of all books, but it's interesting, and I felt like it was a really cool book to make me kind of step out of my comfort zone and step out of my mindset and to kind of think of things in a new light. You know what I mean? And I think that's important, that we come in with our own biases and we think about things the way we do, obviously, but sometimes it's good to kind of force yourself out of those, and this book definitely did that for me. But it was strange, and the ending I'm not sure about, honestly. I don't know how I feel about it. I don't know how I feel about the whole book. It was a good read. It's not an uplifting book. If you want like a cheery, great story, I wouldn't say it's that. But it was interesting. It made me a little uncomfortable to read, especially like at the beginning when they're in the orphanage and they're getting beaten by nuns and stuff. That's kind of creepy. And then they go their separate ways. One of them is really rich, one of them is really poor. Then they kind of switch back and forth about who's doing well and who's not. They mainly take two people's point of view, the two orphans that are like kind of in love. But then there's another girl who's a prostitute that kind of comes into play, as well as the orphan girl's sugar daddy, I guess we could call him. It's an interesting book. It's definitely, like I said, it's not a book that you're gonna read if you want something cheery. But if you're looking for something that kind of makes you question how you view things, this might do it. I don't know if I'd read it again. I don't know that I'd really recommend it. I don't know, you know, it's weird. It's one of those books that I really just don't know how I feel about to this, like, still. But sometimes that's good. I feel like it's good to give yourself books that kind of make you uncomfortable. Because one of the things about books, and this is a fiction book, is to kind of give you another point of view. And this one definitely did. I don't know that I agree with their points of view, the two orphans, but it at least kind of explained how they were thinking and why they chose to do the things they did. So that's cool. I would say it's kind of, I mean, it's definitely fiction, but it's relatable fiction. And it's, like I said, it's from Montreal in the 1920s or the 30s during the Depression. It's interesting. It's interesting. It's a thinker book, and it's one that I think can put you out of your comfort zone. Now, if that's not what you're interested in, if you're like, I just want to read something that makes me happy, I get that. I feel that way a lot of times. I wouldn't recommend it for you. If you like to read things that kind of finish well, that, like, you know, the ending is tied up in a pretty bow and everything is finished, I would not recommend this book for you. But it's interesting. So yeah, I don't know. I feel like that's kind of a bad first book review on my channel, because it's kind of a, yeah. But that's kind of how I feel about this book. I think it's interesting. I think it could help people think about other points of view in life, but I don't know that it would make you happy. So you can take that for what it is. But yeah, I read it, so I thought I'd talk about it. I hope you found that interesting. Maybe if you have any book recommendations, I have 3. Well, I have 2 that I've bought that I'm working or that I'm going to start reading, and then I've got a 3rd one that I need to read for my advisor. So those are like my next 3 books. But then, if you have a book that you recommend reading, I would love to hear it because I do like to read. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed that video. It's a little different for me, but I still hope you liked it. As always, if you have any questions, requests, suggestions, comments, go ahead and leave those down below. And I'll just see you all real soon. Bye.